Okay, I'm going to be teaching the basics of Figma and what it really is, basically like a quick demo. Okay, before we begin, go to Figma and search up the website and click on it. And now you can click on login. You can create an account and you can continue with Google, or you can log in with your email and password. You can unselect this. And then once you've created your account, I'm just going to, okay, so now that I've logged in, you should see something like this and you're good to go. Now, what is Figma? So, Figma is a software tool on the computer that helps people create and design things like websites and apps together with others all at the same time. The application can be accessed through a web browser as long as you're connected to the internet. So, basically, it's more or less like Canva, but for pros, like professional people. You don't really need it if you're like not doing anything related to design. It's just think of Canva, but for websites and apps. It's more for like if you really want detail and like accuracy, because on Canva there's not really a place where you can see exact like pixel like positions, whereas Figma has that, and Figma also has a lot of other design components that Canva doesn't have. So it's just an upgraded version of that. Now, here are some of the basic tools and functions in Figma. So you have the text button, shape tool, selection tool, fill stroke, orientation, position, and color. These are all the basic tools. And then you have functions where it's like auto layout, prototyping, and plugins would also be a tool, I guess. And I'm going to go a little bit into the basic tools. So basic tools are just common tools for design creation that we can use for design basic interfaces and web applications. So it's just like if I go to Figma, and I already have a design right here, but let's say we wanted to create like a presentation, right? So we go here, we can create a slide. So this is our frame, right? And you access it by clicking on this little hashtag looking thing and you click frame. And then these options will come up. You can create a phone, you can create an iPad, whatever screen you want to create for. So let's just assume we're doing a slideshow, right? And we create this. Now we can move it up and down. We can change it however we want. We have the text tool. We can add text. I can add whatever I want. It's really small, but there's text right here. We also have the shape tool where we can add shapes, and there's different types. If you click this drop down arrow, you can do rectangle, ellipse, polygon. Like let's say I draw an ellipse, you can do that. And then here's a selection tool where you can move around, you can move objects, all of that. And then we also have colors, so you can change colors. You can use the hex code. You can just click on this, say I wanted red, easy. And we have object like the positioning, so this will center it. This will make it go to the very top. This will make it go to the bottom. This will go to the center. Yeah. So as you can see, this object is in the center of this whole screen right here. But let's say I wanted it in the dead center, like middle right here. Then I would click here. Right. These are all sort of like logical, common sense. You just look at the picture and you understand what it does. There's nothing else really to that. And then we can also mess with the fill and stroke. So let's say I wanted to just be an outline, right? Then I'll minus the fill, then add a stroke. And you can see it's just an outline now. So, and you can change the color of that outline. You can change the thickness of that outline. You can make it like 10. Yeah, so you can just mess around with that. Now we have auto layout. So this is our first function, and it's extremely useful when you're designing because it allows you to group elements such as buttons or images and align and adjust them together. And so make sure like they're organized and responsive across different devices or screen sizes. And to do this, you use Shift and A. So here's how we're going to do that. So let's say we have a search button, right? I'm just going to put it randomly, right? So usually you have a search word, right? It's like usually like a word. Then you want to have a button, right? So you go to shapes, change this to rectangle, create a shape right here. And we can move this under so we can bring center back. Now we want to put the search in the middle, right? But if I move this one, right, it doesn't move with it. And that's my issue right now, right? Because like, let's say my search bar is off and I need to move it somewhere else, then I have to move both of these pieces individually, which is a hassle, right? Especially when you're dealing with bigger components and like more design elements. So what you want to do is click on the search, hold shift, and then click on the box or rectangle and hold shift. Continue to hold shift, and you can see here they're both selected, right? Then you want to keep on holding shift and click A. And now you've created a frame. And now watch, when I move it around, the search is with it, right? So now if I edit it, say I want to make it like bigger. Let's make it like 30. It makes the frame bigger, right? Because these are one group now and they adjust according to each other. I can even make this the search. Let's say I wanted the search to be one side, right? I can change this. I can also click on the search button. I can move this around too if I just change the width. So let's say, sorry, it's a little buggy, but oops. Like, see, if I'm moving this, it moves it down. Or see, this moves it more into the center or to the other side. Or let's say I wanted to, yeah. So let's say I wanted to make it on this side, right? So I first make these two equal, and you can do that even here. You can see that this is the width from this end of the search bar or to the search text to the end of this box. Just make equal, so 103. So now they're equal, right? And let's say you wanted the search to be on here. So you can click this, right? And now, if you just move this, it'll stay on that side, right? Then you can just make this shorter. Then now you have your search there, right? And then usually it's a little like lighter. It's not this dark. You can just change it here. There you go. Now you have your search, right? And then there's also another function where you can also change it so that the corners are rounded. And you do that right here. And you usually put it to 8. And you can see now the corners are rounded. Okay. So that's what auto layout does. And that's an example of what you can use for that. Let's talk about plugins. So plugins are basically like a third-party extension that enhances the functionality of the design tool. And it's basically like shortcuts that make your life easier when you're using Figma. And some of these shortcuts are material design icons, unsplash, and color contrast. So material design icons, here's what it looks like. So to access plugins, what I would do is I would right click, go to plugins, and then I already have them here, but we would go to manage plugins and you would search them up. So I would search out material design icons and here it would pop up and then I would click save, right? Or if they're not and they're here, you would click on it and then save it here. So let's say I click on this, right? And I come to a screen. So here are all the design icons I can access. And I can just, let's say for the search, you know how you usually have that search, just click search. You have the magnifying glass, right? So if I click on it, it'll appear here and I can bring it here. And I can move the search bar inside here a little bit. So then I can change this and move this in there, right? Oops, let me just, sorry. And I can change the width to like 60. Or no, let's just change it doing this. Okay. Then I put it in here where I want it roughly. And then I'm good, right? And if I want to make this auto layout, what I would do is hold shift on this, then A. Now it's auto layout added, it moves with it, right? Okay. Now that that's done, so that's where you can use your material design icons. If you want like a profile, you can do anything. All those like cartoonish type icons can be found using that plugin. There are other plugins, so let's go to the other ones. We're going to go to Unsplash, and color contrast. So Unsplash is plugin, and also once you save them, they'll be here. They'll be in your saved plugin. So we're just gonna go from there. So color contrast. Basically, this checks if your colors contrast enough. So if the design is good, basically, if the colors in the design are nice. So we can test it out by changing this color to, you can change it to like, change that search word to red or something. Do like purple. Actually, let's change that whole box. Whoops. Okay, we're gonna make this whole box red. All right. I'm gonna make this background like blue or purplish. Okay, we're gonna click on this, right? To check, reset, and then we're gonna click on this. We're gonna go to plugins and then redo it. You click color contrast. Wait, I'm not really sure why it's not working right now, but okay, here. So we had to double click on that. Now it's working. And as you can see right now, that contrast ratio is 1.99, so it's low. So basically we want it to be a really high number, and that's why it's failing all of these tests, right? And you can play with the colors here, like see it now. I'm changing this, it's making it a little bit brighter, the contrast ratio is higher. See now, a blue and a light or dark blue or purplish light yellow work, right? It passes these tests. So when I apply the changes, the contrast is a lot better and you can see like everything more clear, and so it's a better design. Now that's how color contrast works. Now we can go to the last plugin, which is Unsplash, and Unsplash is like relatively logical. It's like common sense. Basically you just upload pictures online to your design. So let's say I want this picture in my design, just click on it, or I can search up an image and then it'll pop up, and then all I have to do is just adjust it to my desired thing. Okay, well for this, in this case, I adjusted it so that it was my background. If I undo it and I just select this right here and then I clicked Unsplash, then the image would fill for that circle, right? So let's say I wanted this image. Click on it and then see the image fills. So these are the perks of using Figma. They perfectly align. So if I just wanted the image itself though, then I'll just click on nothing and then go to Unsplash. Then I would click the image again. And then because I selected nothing, the image would just appear as it was on the screen, and then I can just minimize it. Let's say I want to put it on this side of my file. So I just put it right there, right? Okay, that's what plugins are. Now, prototyping is when you get to the end and your design is done and you want it to be interactive, right? So usually they're for like apps or websites, but we're going to test this with these design frames right here. So let's say we created this design, right? I know this is not the best design. It's just something rough that I created just to show you what prototyping really is. We would first go to prototype, and now you can see all these like lines are already attached to it, right? We're just going to delete these real quick and I'll show you how to actually do this. So when you hover over a box or an element, you're going to see that you have this plus if you hover over it, right? These dots. And what these dots do, basically when you click on it and you drag it, it will become an interactive piece. So let's say I drag it to this section frame right here. Because it goes from here to here, when I click on this button or this whole image right here, it will move me to this screen. And how this works is if I play it, you'll see what I mean. So once I play it, this is like, if I go to here, right, load it in, and I click on this, it actually moved me to the second screen, right? So it went from here to here. Now, what if I want to move between here and here and with a different button? So I'd go to this button, and you can even make it so that I have to click on the specific word, or I can do the entire box, right? So let's just do the entire box, and I drag the arrow to here. You can see the arrow is pointing at this frame, Now let go and click play. Now, when I'm on the home screen and I click this button, it goes to this. And you can tell it's the third screen because it says button 2 and the screen's down, the image is down here, and this image down here is button 2. So those are the ways you can use prototyping in your design. Obviously, there's way more like options in prototyping. There's a lot more, but these are just the basics. And it's the process of creating interactive and dynamic representations of a digital design. And it allows basically you to see how a user would interact with your interface. So you're basically creating an app without coding. Now you can practice. Here's some prompts. You can design a social media post for an imaginary event or announcement, and design a user interface for an online marketplace home screen. And here's a really good website for inspiration for your design. It's called dribble.com, and it looks like this. So here you can search up apps, right? Just if you want inspiration, let's just search it up. You can see you have all types of designs. Let's say you want a slideshow, right? You can search. And here you have slideshow presentations. You can base your design off of these, right? All these different types, and there's so many here to look at. It's unlimited. So use this website. It's extremely good for any type of design inspo. Okay, and here's some of the examples that I pulled from Dribble actually. Now, and that's it. There's a lot more you can discover and probably figure out with Figma, but those are just the basics. There's a lot more you can do. There's way more functions for prototyping that I haven't really covered that I could in another video if you guys really want me to. And there are also more functions with like colors and this editing stuff. Yep. Thank you for watching.